Welcome to the Thought Leader Show, Mr. Dinkar.
Thank you, Major Saab. Pleasure to be here.
Mr. Dinkar, I would like to start with a very, very important question, and this is for the benefit of entrepreneurs who are my age, who are in their 50s, and probably entrepreneurs who are above 50. You have started a venture at a stage when most people are kind of thinking of retirement. I would like to know what is motivating you to do that.
Okay. So I think, this question I'm asked often. I'm not as old as people think anyway, that apart. The point is that I have spent 37 years in sales and I've seen companies do well. I've seen companies go to dust for a simple reason that they have not mastered the science of sales execution. And it is a science, not an art. So when I set about doing my work on consulting, I had to focus on a particular area. And I found that the area of building sales productivity was largely untouched. I mean, there were people working on the fringes. So sales training is a part, good 30-40% part of it. A lot more needs to get done. So I decided to dedicate my balance of my working life to helping companies to build sales productivity, because that is the secret formula and the secret sauce to help them to succeed. And there's nobody actually doing only that. Lots of people doing marketing, branding, sales training, but nobody on sales productivity. I also work with a lot of non-profit organizations like TIE, the Indus Entrepreneurs, which looks at training entrepreneurs. Over the past 3 years, I've been exposed to a lot of new ideas. And the single thing that struck me is after entrepreneurs raised money, talked to people, got people on board, then he struggles to keep his company afloat for some very silly reasons. So this is where I said I must, really focus. And it's an ongoing journey of trying to get the science of selling and sales management implanted.
Now that's interesting. Given your experience, of 30 plus years in sales and marketing, and as you rightly said, you've seen companies. You also worked with some of the established MNC companies. What kind of thought process one goes through when they have to give up their secured job, where you're getting secured income, and take to entrepreneurship?
So I've done some research on this because of my association with TIE. Is entrepreneurship an art or a science? Is a big question. The question is, after the people in TIE have researched it, and these are leading entrepreneurs in Silicon Valley, it's both an art and a science. The art part is that you need to have the drive that mujhe kuch karna hai. I want to start on my own. This has to come from within. It depends on the environment where you're born. We're looking at people, you move it. That is the crucial part. Now, having got that art, there is a science to succeed. Okay, and the science is all process-led. Now, whichever way you look at it, whether we want to accept it or not, the successful entrepreneurs of yesteryears, today, Indian, Western, Chinese, whatever you are, they all have followed a process. And the funny part is, if you actually ask them, they probably say it just happened. Now, when you reach a top level and you have to explain what you've done, it's very difficult to explain the nitty-gritty of what's happening. So my understanding of entrepreneurship is that it's a very detailed job of going process by process of meeting milestones, but inner urge. And what we do is we should never let the entrepreneur die. We should make him succeed, him or her succeed. That is the objective of my venture, to make these people succeed by executing so well that they're successful. And hence the entrepreneurial spirit then balloons and develops and has a rub-off effect on others. That is the kind of mission that and the movement that we need to create. Not to see failed enterprises, but to see successful enterprises from people who have inner urge. Because entrepreneur is born, it's difficult to make somebody entrepreneur. You're going to make the entrepreneur from himself and then make them successful.
I agree with you all that. It has to be inner urge. But then the thought of taking the risk, when you have to give up a secured job, you have responsibilities. How do you go through that process? What do you tell yourself?
So I think that it all depends on you got to have conviction. And if I look back at the 80s when we were studying and trying to get into jobs, those days if you said you're an entrepreneur, and then you probably would have people looking at you saying, "What are you trying to do?" Things are much better now. I mean, the ecosystem is much better, but the challenges are also higher. So the first thing is that, an entrepreneur needs to get ready for a journey, which will be rough at times. So please bear in mind that, when you do this entrepreneurship, you're signing up a little bit for the unknown. You're signing up for risk taking. Okay. So the definition of entrepreneurship that, we have to manage the risk and the business both, not either or. So you got to be a risk taking kind of person, and you got to have a support system that helps you to achieve your goal. That is very important. And that is the starting point. And like everything else, you got to have an idea, which is something unique, which something you can create, and talk to mentors, talk to people who have been through that to understand the process. So entrepreneurship is very good, but before jumping into it, just look and do a little research that mentally you should be able to take the challenges. Mentally, you should be able to go ahead no matter what the odds. Because eventually, if you put your head to it, work through all the systems and processes, you will have your objective, you will be successful.
And how important is it to have some kind of experience behind you before venturing or starting your own startup?
I think it's very important to have some understanding how it works, unless you are from a business family. So there are two kind of people of a business family, so it's in their blood. So when you're born in a business family, you're only hearing about businesses, risks, and opportunities, stuff like that. But this gets into you when you're in the corporate world. So there are some good parts that you need to take from there in terms of the structure, the processes which they follow to help them succeed, and understanding how they work. Also, corporate is a good way to understand what doesn't work. The bureaucracy sometimes, the kind of losing touch with the customer, things, the pitfalls to avoid. So if you have both the learnings and you have the right mentors, you can take what's called a calculated risk with a project on your own and take a milestone, do some pivoting. There are lots of institutions, to help you to guide through the path. And we at GASP Sales Academy are trying to add to that at the sales end by trying to build the sales product.
In your experience, you work with MNCs, you have over 30 plus years of experience in sales and marketing, in sales segment. Did you, I mean, is my understanding correct, or did you see people willing to be part of, the sales team? Because what I understand is, given my, I mean, purely from my experience, uh, there are far lesser people wanting to be in sales. Rather, they would, and especially people who come from MBAs and all, they would rather get into MBA HR, MBA finance than do, sales and marketing. Is that your experience as well?
That's a very nice topic to touch on, because my personal experience was I started off as a product manager. For me, marketing was everything. I was an MBA, and for me, marketing and product was everything. And I thought that was the world. Till I realized that to rise up the corporate ladder, you needed to be in sales. And my first venture from product management to sales management as the branch head of a company was disastrous, to say the least. I'm talking of 30 years back. And I learned a lot. I learned a lot there how not to do things. The thing is, the reason people are not very comfortable in sales is because you need to get your hands dirty. See, I can talk a lot of strategy of building productivity. Ultimately, it's actually very simple. Being close to a customer and providing good service, whether you're selling ice cream, forklifts, or a SaaS product, is where it is. And do it right. There are a lot of rewards in this particular profession.
The new age, the digital age has changed everything, especially the last 2 years. Since we faced with the pandemic, a lot of things have gone online. Even the sales and marketing has gone online. Uh, how do you see this change happening, and how are you positioning yourself, as GASP Sales Academy to incorporate sales, the new form of sales?
Selling has been the same for the past 1,000 years, because there's a moment of truth when the customer or consumer decides to buy or not buy a product. That hasn't changed. What has changed is the delivery mechanism to these entities. Okay, so technology has enabled, but technology is only an enabler, not the final answer. So you still need to have a good product. You still need to have a differentiated value proposition, and you need to reach the customer the right way. Whether online or offline, the process is similar. In fact, at GASP, what we say is that there are only two businesses: B2C, D2C, or B2B and services. Everything fits within that. and the online has only made it in a way easier to reach out to the customer or consumer. But then there's also a lot of clutter out there. So eventually it boils down to the same thing, that unless you have a unique differentiated value proposition, the customer is not going to look at you. So we at GASP Sales Academy, let's take my academy by itself. We are at the moment online because of the current situation. Our academy can definitely go online and also offline. And when we look at long term, we'll probably have a mix of both the online and the offline kind of mentoring. Advantage of online is I can reach many parts of India and the world with my solution and my vision, and make it a standard. So this is what we are doing as far as GASP Sales Academy is concerned. As far as the overall business is concerned, I think online is here to stay, and those of us who embrace it, knowing the advantages of it, will do a stellar job in meeting the customer expectations and winning the moment of truth.
How important is digital marketing and SEO and SMM that they talk about uh, in today's scenario going forward? If you have to build your business, if you have to create those revenue sales.
So it's all about getting the customer's attention, and I think that the digital media and the digital marketing has a very important role to play, and that's a science again. So there are SEOs, there are lots of other tools. What is the objective of all of these tools? Ultimately, what you're trying to see is that, have you caught the customer's attention? The old rule, which is we learned in 80s in marketing, IDA rule: awareness, interest, desire, action, leading to purchase, has not changed. First, the customer has to be aware of your product, then they take interest in it, the desire to buy it, and actually do it. It's a simple process. That's the funnel, marketing funnel, sales funnel. So what these digital marketing tries to do, address each part of the funnel, including, as we teach in the GASP Sales Academy, to measure it and have a metric at every level to know how exactly you're doing. So digital marketing is very important, but you need to measure the results again against a standard and make sure that you're not, anyway falling apart, and keep a check, maintain the process to achieve your success.
And finally, My Startup TV is a channel for entrepreneurs and startups like you, and an exclusive channel. What are your thoughts about our channel?
First of all, I must congratulate you on having this concept, because, as I mentioned, the first as a consultant, as GASP Sales Academy, I always look for new ideas in the market. This excites me because you're trying to go to an area which has not been where nobody's trading so far. It's a great thought. It's a great service to startups and entrepreneurs. And I'm, for example, today I'm able to reach out to so many people with my thoughts thanks to this medium. You can be an excellent partner for many entrepreneurs to reach out to the audience and make the point, make them aware of their mission, of their passion. And I think that, what I've seen of the operation so far has actually left me quite dazzled, because the way you're doing stuff, the way you're getting across your various programs and shows, hats off to you. It's a great initiative, and I would recommend that all entrepreneurs look at it very seriously to basically communicate their message to startups and get their business going.
Thank you, Mr. Dinkar. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to hosting you on other shows.
Thank you so much.